society, so they've been banging for years. My grandmother, come on. You already know our grandmama got how many kids? She got 18 babies. That girl been getting it in since she was 12. No, I'm just playing.
I was about to say, now don't be on airtime about
Yeah,
grandma. You gonna be
that was
getting
a
in
joke,
trouble.
everybody. That was a joke. But she do have 18 babies out of that one for JJ. That's a bad for JJ. You hear me? But anyway, yeah, so I don't want to say necessarily that our society has been exposed to it. I just think the elements were different. We have a lot of porn and mags and all that stuff. Where back in their day, I think they probably had the same type of, stuff introduced to them, but it just wasn't in the format of what we have today through modern technology. I think their technology was a little different, but they were still super freaks.
I think it's more about how you conceptualize what's going on. So for me, intimacy looked at different from looking at the stuff that I was looking at versus someone who was exposed because of rape or hardcore porn, because those are things that we build our directory on. Mm-hmm. So if we were to look at something like what I seen as far as anime porn, it was more of they was communicating, it was a story. Mm-hmm. Hard porn, it just straight going into it. Right. Choking somebody, mm-hmm. And just going on into rape, mm-hmm. and how they're exposed to that. So having those schemas and those directories of how sex looked when we was exposed to it is what causes or plays into how we look at sex and intimacy in our relationships.
And unfortunately, as children, we don't have that capability to decipher the difference. So if at 13 or 10, right. you're looking at that hardcore porn, absolutely. That's what you in your mind conceptualize of what sex is supposed to look like, and that's how you interact with women going forward. So that's what I'm saying. The danger of it is, unfortunately, we're not talking about it with our children, and they watching it. Best believe. I mean, this generation of kids are exposed to a lot more than what we were exposed to times 12, but they don't have a safe space where they can have a dialogue about how do I process this. Just because I see this on TV does not mean I go act it out. I know grown men who have, because they watch that hardcore porn, that's what they like to act out when they're with somebody. So they don't know how to
destroying women by doing it.
Right.
Because it does take away the intimacy. You know, I'm going to act out what I see. You can't do it it don't work now. Mm-hmm. This ain't the movies. Like they say, this ain't Hollywood.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah. Ooh, so okay, question number 3. Tia got that look like, ooh, what did I get?
No, not at all. I'm taking it in. I'm listening. I'm going there as well.
I'm gonna open you up in a minute, Tia.
So I'll learn about sex, Tia.
Yeah.
When did I learn? I was never
about
officially taught anything. I do remember an attempt in school to do sex education, but that was a clinical version of it. So that didn't really mean anything to me. And honestly, I think I learned it just by doing it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just in the middle of it and didn't really know. I knew it was sex, but I didn't know really what I was doing until I was in the middle of it. And then, for me, as I progressed, there's just certain things you innately know, right? You just know.
That instinct kicks in.
There's an instinct, but then that doesn't equate to it being either healthy or mature. It just means there's just a physical instinct that our bodies go through around sex. So I put myself in that position and my body just responded. But that was not me really knowing about good sex.
So
I just
was a
didn't
trial
know.
And error type of learner,
I think most of us are. Most of us are if we tell the truth. We all are trial and error. If we really think about it, so yes,
absolutely.
So we're gonna go around, answer one more question, then we're gonna take a quick little break. So, why is sexual health important, Dr. Carol? I want to start with you because we had this conversation on the phone, and you brought up some really good points. Mm-hmm. We think about our mental health, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being in terms of working out and stuff, but we neglect that component of our sexual being. A lot of us don't embrace our, just who we are as a sexual person. So why is sexual health important?
I guess I'm gonna have 15 minutes, but sexual health is important because it allows you to be in tune with who you are and what you like, dislike, and kind of take some of the blame out of relationships. Because one of the things that I have seen with individuals who do not take ownership of their own sexual health is that they put it on a partner to create those feelings and those just responsible for sexual feelings, the orgasm. Because even in relationships, you can't say, well, my husband don't ever have me do this, that, and the other when you don't even know what you like. So you can't put the blame on your partners or things like that when you don't know. You haven't explored your own body to see if that's how you like it versus just telling someone, yeah, I like this, and wonder why nothing is happening when it's happening because you never tried it yourself.
Right.
So just having that time where I have had times where I didn't light candles in the room and just had a whole night to myself. The kids was gone because I know when my husband come home, I already know what to tell him to do. So it's going to be even magical. So we have to have those point in times every now and then because the body changes just like the taste buds in your mouth changes every few years. We have to look at those things and just be able to come one with ourselves so when we get into those relationships, we know exactly what we like. We know how to communicate those things. And it won't be more of a blame game of who did what in the bedroom.
So for our nurse practitioner over here, wow, what is sexual health, Nikki?
Well, sexual health kind of it's a little bit about like she was saying too, knowing about yourself, knowing about your partner, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, so that the experience at the end of the day is something to think about later or something to write about in your journal or whatever it is. But sexual health is important because I'm a life student. I'm learning every day, all day. And I had to start with myself. I had to, check out different parts on my body so that I could see how they would react. And so then that way, when I'm in that moment with my partner, he knows I could direct him and what to do. I need to be mindful of his body, and be mindful of the things that, arouse him and to get him going so that it can just be a thing that we both can come together and experience that make it worthwhile. Like my thing is, I don't think sex should happen unless it's worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You don't want to just be having just
Wasting your time.
Yeah, wasting your time. You want to. So in order to do that, you have to kind of know how your body works. For the women, you want to make sure your vagina is clean and healthy. So there's a lot that comes with sexual health. You want to make sure his penis is clean. You don't want to, if it look like a pickle with the little bumps and things on there, you want to say, hey, look, like, what's going on with this? You don't want to put yourself in any kind of danger. It's sex and making love or intimacy, like it's supposed to be something to take you to the next level every time. So it's important to know about your body, his body, and what y'all are actually doing.
Okay. And on that note, we are welcoming a new sponsor to Let's Go There with Sassy C and Tia. Tia, you want to give some information about our new sponsor?
Absolutely. So our new sponsor is the Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law. Have you ever experienced the stress of dealing with a loved one during a disability or seen the chaos after the death of someone who's died? Well, Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law firm specializes in helping guide families through such traumatic events. They are committed to helping individuals create a personalized estate plan that meets their expectations. The firm is comprised of individuals that believe in education, maintenance, and collaboration. They believe that estate planning should focus on providing you with a plan that reflects who you are, maximizes your control during life, protects you and your wishes in the event of a disability, and provides the instructions for carrying out your legacy at your death. If you're in need of wills, trust, powers of attorney, guardianship assistance, Medicaid services, or probate administration. Contact their office at 317-572-8696. That's 317-572-8696, or visit their website at www.estateplanners.org. Norton's Estate Planning and Elder Law Firm is committed to protecting your dignity and securing your legacy.
We are so super excited about having them as a sponsor. We are in their space, and this is a beautiful space. So, yes, welcome, Norton Planning and Estates Elder Law.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, so question number 4. This is a huge one. I think this kind of sets the framework for why a lot of people don't talk about sex. How do you overcome the negative thoughts you were taught by religion about premarital sex, and you can include masturbation and all that as well, to have a healthy sex life? Who want to tackle that one first?
I guess I can start that off, since I like to base a lot of this stuff around spirituality, and I'm as I've grown in my spiritual life, I don't pick up the term religion or religious anymore. Religion or religious is something that you do often. So if you take a shower every day, you do that religiously. If you go to work every day, you go to work religiously. That has been taken out of context to me, and what I've learned, and they have utilized that as a form of belief to a higher deity. And I think that is incorrect. That's just for the things that I'm learning through my own spiritual growth. I look at, we are spiritual beings and we are electrical beings. And God is a spirit. He's not a religion. So speaking on that, as far as premarital sex and the negative thoughts that come with it, sure enough, Scripture says for us, to hold off on having sex until we're married. That to some people is very difficult to do. It was difficult for me when I got married. I got married at a very, very young age. I got married at the age of 20 years old. My ex-wife was 7 years older than me and had 3 kids. So I wanted to do it the right way from the beginning. So the fact of it being you thinking that you're going to be harming God, or that you're going to be causing some form of a sin to have sex before you get married, I just got to be real with you. I mean, we test drive cars. You know what I'm saying? When you go buy a car, you test drive that thing. You know what I'm saying? We don't just go to a dealership and say that we're going to buy a car and then we just hop in it and take off, without us test driving it. We got to make sure that it feels right, that the seats are comfortable. We got to make sure that the steering, steers how we want, that it has the horsepower that we have. So I look at that as that's how we should do with when we're dating, and when we decide to get physical with somebody, you got to take it for a test drive, because if it's not what you want, you're going to be stuck with that. If you marry it before you try it, you're going to be stuck with it. Unless you annul your marriage, you know what I'm saying?
Antichrist.
You get an annulment, So there is a story that's scriptural though, where King Solomon's father David sent the husband of the wife, Bathsheba, off to the war to die, and so he could have sex with Bathsheba, and God took their first son away from him because he committed adultery. But you got to understand, we serve a forgiving God. We serve a God that is his love for us is unconditional. And what he did for David was told David that he can have sex with Bathsheba again. And then he blessed David and said that I'm going to give you a son that will be the wisest man to ever walk the land. There will be never one wiser than him before or after. So how could a man create such a sin to send a man off to die, to have sex with his wife in order to create a child, and then God blessed that? We don't understand God's thinking because we're not God.
Okay, so come on, Pastor Dorian.
No. So really, I look at it when it comes to religion. and I know we can't ride the fence when we come with God, but I just got to keep it real, man. You got to test that vajayjay out. I'm just want to be hunt, because if it ain't you, you ain't got that juice box